Man, hopefully I do not need a band-aid after this. So for this final part of the Lucifer's wing review, I would combine these two model kits into the gigantic mobile armor shown on the box art. However, I'm going to be doing this for the first time because the transformation process literally covers 10 pages of the instruction manual, so I do not want to go through it myself for the first time and having to dismantle the entire thing and put them back together for the review. So this is going to be the first time I'm going to be ever doing this, so I'm going to be doing it on camera. I'm trying my best to give you guys the directions of dismantling these guys and putting them together into the mobile armor form, and then I'm going to be taking some time to interact with it. But for you guys, it's just going to be a jump cut, so interacting with it for a bit and then doing the review. So let's begin, shall we? So first of all, for the unicorn unit, you need to take off the two gigantic slices of ham in the side from the base polycap, like so. And then I did do a bit of a wrong step in the last video. These pieces of armor are supposed to connect to the back skirt through this polycap, so you should not plug them into the thighs right here. So anyways, what you want to do now is to take off the armor with the back skirt. So do so for the other side, like so. And then this is the pain. You need to take off the legs from the clamps. It is not as painful as to knock off my set, but you could get a little bit of a better grip over here to basically remove the clamps, better than when you transform this guy from the unicorn form. And then you want to remove this entire rig from over here, and then remove the unicorn neck. And then lastly, from this page, you want to remove this entire thing here, which includes the bib, the wings, and the head. So hopefully I don't mess this up, because this gave me a lot of trouble in the last part. Next up, we need to remove the bottom rig over here and the top rig from this frame. So we need to remove everything. And then for the arms, you need to rotate the centerpiece until the U is facing backwards, like so. And then you want to rotate these polycaps so that they are facing towards the back, but of course drop the arms as well, like so. And then you want to flip these down and then angle the arms accordingly, like so. So this can be left off to the side. And then for the bib and head unit, let me brush these out of the way, just because these can be quite annoying and a bit of a distraction. So for the bib, you want to take off these side pieces. Now keep in mind that these arms of the bib need to stay on the bib. I know I'm calling this a bib, but it is actually the shield for the mobile armor. So yeah, let's just put that in there. And then we need to take off these side pieces. Well, yeah, it did itself. It did the job itself. And then we need to take off the head and the wings from the rig over here, and then discard this completely. And then for what it states as step 7 is to bring in this rig again and then plug the arms into the second slot from the top. So plug those in. And then for this piece, you need to rotate the V pieces until it is actually facing the right way up. And then flip the polycap down, flip the top polycap down. And then you need to raise the peg over here. And then plug the polycap, the top polycap, into the peg over here, like so. Move that off to the side for now, and then we need to prep the head. So you need to first of all remove the yellow visor, excuse me, And then you need to close up the head and then flip the unicorn horn back. And then now you bring in the saddle unit over here. Now you do not need the saddle itself, so I have taken it off over here. So now you would want to plug in the saddle into the unicorn visor. Move that off to the side. And then you would want to bring in the neck piece of where is the neck in this pile of parts. So you completely unfold the neck and then bring in the handrests over here, or the handles, and then connect them into the hole over here. But the hole is made up of two plastic pieces sandwiched together, so it may start to pry open the hole, so just be aware of that, but good for you if it doesn't happen. That can be moved off to the side as well. And then for these ham pieces that I accidentally dropped, brush these off to the side again. You need to take off the gray pieces once more. So if you're transforming this from the Centurion support unit, you do not need to do this at all. Same goes for the other one. And from what the instruction says, the unicorn is completely prepared. So let me brush these unicorn pieces off to the right side and then bring in the harpy. So what you want to do for the harpy is what you want to do for transforming this guy for the humanoid form. So basically take off the head. I need to be careful with this just because I do not want this thing to be a laceration hazard. But then you do not want to take off the wings from the base joint over here. You want to take it off from the rotation joint over here. So there we go. Second one as well. And then you take off the legs from the base joint. Same as when you're transforming the harpy into the humanoid form. And then now you would want to take off the entire waist unit. So let me take off the torso just for clearance to make sure that I do not break anything in this process. Take this off. And then you want to take off the chest plate over here. Not that, but the entire chest plate over here, which is plugged onto a multitude of different joints, so you have to be damn careful. Originally, these would have been in here. So yeah, these do flip in and out, but now you take them off, and then you actually take the spinal cord off. And then you want to take off the Buster Sword mounted onto as the tail, and then discard this adapter completely. Now let's prep the Buster Sword first, because evidently the mobile armor will be using it. So it is the same steps as I did show in the harpy part. So extend the blue blades, fold out the white blades, couple them up together, bring in the handle, plug it in. There we go, Buster Sword complete. And then from the leftover frame, you want to take off these from the frame, and then there's just this wooden stick. So let's leave this central piece out to the side for now. And then these frame pieces do need a little bit of alteration. So let's rotate these towards the back 90 degrees. And then it is a weird amount of contortion from the instruction manual, so you need to flip these up like so and then rotate these outwards somehow. So from what I can see, it is like this, and then flip it until you have this result. So basically L facing towards the side, this facing like this if you are better at remembering shapes, and then these pieces facing outwards, and then basically flip them to the top like so. So what you would basically have is, I need to adjust this when you look at it from the top. So that is prepared. That's a mouthful. And then let's bring in the head of the harpy, and then we completely take off this poly cap right here. Now it would be easier to remove the face before you take off the entire thing, so yeah, to each their own. But when you remove it, you also need to make sure that this peg over here stays with the harpy. So with a little bit of mechanical help, push the peg out if it stays in there. So you won't need this, I don't think, forever. So what you want to do for this thing is to fold the entire thing back. Now that that's prepared, we need to bring in the wings. So from here, what we want to do is to extend these side pieces like so. And then we want to flip out this blade and then rotate the entire rear assembly like so. And from what I'm seeing here, it's supposed to bend and bend like so. It's very, very confusing of what you need to do. So the same goes for the other one, although in an opposite direction. So I'm not gonna show that. And then now bring in the main unit over here, and then basically plug on the mask of the harpy. So you plug that on, and then the pre-prepared joints. So you plug that into the top over here like so. And then leave that off to the side for now. I'm gonna finish the other wings preparation and I'm gonna be right back. Alright, now we need to take the harpy's arms and then first of all remove this sensor piece. Second of all, remove the bottom talon, and then third of all, remove the manipulator. And I'm gonna brush that off to the side for now. And we need to switch the manipulators out because the unicorn manipulators are open. We need to switch them out for the harpies. So what you need to do for the harpy arms now is to rotate this 180 degrees and then flip this entire thing up. And then you will want to take this thing off and re-put it in the back of the arm like so, of course with the hole over here facing out, and then you plug the extra manipulator on here, so thankfully it wouldn't be lost. But you need to take one of the hooves, I'm assuming from here, and then you need to plug it onto where the manipulator was. So just plug in right there, and then do the same for the other one, and yeah, basically you're gonna be grand. And then we move back here and plug the side pieces of the unicorn's armor onto the body. So you basically plug this hole right here into this V piece over here like so. Same goes for the other one. And then you go back to the harpy's chest plate right here, and then yep, you actually have to discard this piece and yep, put it off to the side, and then you activate the arms in the back. It's a bit tough at first, but you'll get there. And extend them all the way. And then you bring the main thing back and then plug the chest plate into the third hole over here. And then you bring back the wings. So you plug the wings onto the shoulder pieces. So this should be plugged onto here. So ow, that actually hurts. So basically plug them back right where they were. And man, hopefully I do not need a band-aid after this. And then yes, same goes for the other one, as usual. And then now, with me having to fix the set over again, you plug the neck rig right onto the back poly cap over here. Now, as I did say, this is not the most secure connection in the world, so you may find some problems when you are trying to plug this on. Now, I'm going to determine whether or not this is totally necessary in the review, but my full bets are on nope. So you could possibly take those off and not even have an effect on it. And then yeah, you need to point it down. And okay, so have the neck point down, the neck of the unicorn, but flip the handles out. So I think it is for whoever or whatever is mounted in there just to hold onto the handles and basically take control of the entire mobile armor. And then let's move this off to the side for now. And then over here, I did mess this up just because I do not know how to read instructions. And basically, initially it is in this position, so you need to take every single thing off to the individual pieces. And then you need to plug on the 5 dots facing up. So the direction is the 5 dots facing up right back onto the same piece. And then for step 32, you need to bring in the leftover unicorn spine and then take off the top over here. You do not need this. You don't need this anymore. So, and then you plug on the newly configured arm pieces. I'm not sure. Back onto the top hole from behind. And then with a little bit of rotation, like so, you plug the initially disassembled parts right back onto the polycaps. And then you bring back the unicorn's piece and then plug it onto the second hole from the front. And then you take the unicorn's legs and then rotate this thing towards the back, flip the polycap down, and then remove the clamp right here. Same goes for the other one. And then you reposition the clamp from being a horizontal clamp to a vertical clamp. So reposition that, same here, and then plug that onto the extended pieces right here. And then plug the unused arms right into these pieces over here. So I need to know my directions. And then bring in the tail rig of the unicorn and disassemble this. So take this off and then rotate this down, and then I need to bring in an unused piece. So I'm gonna be right back. So the new piece in question is the 7th piece from the O2 plate. So what you want to do now is to plug this thing on like so. So with the 2 pegs facing this way and the rectangular peg facing the other way. And then now you bring in this piece, this entire thing right here. And then plug this thing onto the 3rd hole over here. And then the waist piece of the harpy, you need to take off the bottom piece and then the gray piece, and then just reattach it onto the crotch right there. And then this remaining piece right here, so leave this and then flip the polycaps up and then plug it onto here, I suppose. No, here. Plug it on here. And then you bring back the 2 gigantic slices of ham, finally. Haven't seen them in forever. And plug them not onto the set, but onto the polycap right here. It's a bit tricky, but I'm gonna try it without knocking the camera over, because that happened once. I just cut that out, and then actually deploy the mechanic inside of the ham pieces to reveal the clear blue pieces. Basically, quote unquote, transform this into destroy mode. And then we could leave this off to the side for now. Now take these pieces over here and then remove the armor from the back skirt piece. Same goes for here. And then you want to rotate everything until the initial thing is facing up, but then in the end the peg is going to be facing down. So up and down, like so. Move that off to the side for now, and then bring in the leg guards again. So you basically plug the back skirts back into here, which now makes a lot more sense since this is way more armored up. And yeah, this is one of the flaws of the unicorn. The legs just constantly fall off with the wrong angle of handling. Now bring in this from the harpy and then rotate it until it has this kind of an obtuse angle, and then peg this thing on, adjust the polycap, and then adjust this polycap to face up. Bring back the spine, the spinal cord, and then plug it right back onto here, and then bring the hexagonal pieces of the gray pieces from the pieces of ham, and then also bring in the waist piece from the harpy. So plug this thing onto here, and then attach this, one of this only, onto the bottom hexagon. And then you bring in the physical unicorn head and then plug it onto here, and then bring in the dismantled talons over here, plug them onto the hexagon like so, and then plug this entire thing right into the bomb, and then plug these wing pieces onto the exposed pegs over here. So I feel kind of weirded out, but well, Kotobukiya thought of this from the top of the head, so I cannot really blame them for having this kind of a weird creation right out of the arse. And then bring in the shield, the rear leg armor of the unicorn, and then actually plug them onto the leg joints over here. And then finally angle them diagonally into the front. And then you plug this thing on with the unicorn visor facing down like so, and then plug it onto the remaining hole of the frame. So you would have this kind of thing. And then we need to bring in another piece, which is the 7th piece of the D plate. So I'm gonna get right to that. So what you want to do first is to plug this new piece into here like this, and then bring in the top body. Now before you connect the upper body to the polycaps and the rig over there, make sure you adjust this piece of the unicorn neck, so that when you finish connecting the torso over here into the top peg, you couple the neck joint with the rear peg. So I'm going to finish that off and I'll be right back. So here we have the completed mobile armor, but we're not done just yet, because we still have to arm this behemoth of a model up. So let me just rest it on the background. Hopefully it will not pierce my actual softbox. So we did prepare the sword, but we need to also prepare a shield because we cannot discriminate against the shield. So plug the handle back on. So, yeah, we need to only arm the sword up for the mobile armor, and then we are done. This is the complete transformation, but we still have a few extra weapon options. So as you see here, the spine pieces that I constantly forget, you can do a little bit of flipping around and then basically allow these things to function as spray guns, like so. So these are for whoever you're plopping inside the shield as well. So now let me give you guys a proper introduction of the completed Lucifer's wing, and I have to say this thing looks monstrous. However, considering the fact that the feet of the unicorn humanoid form is completely shite and it cannot support the weight of the unicorn itself, there is no way in hell that it could support all of this shit on the body. Like, there is no way in hell it would only just either cling back, just move back, or it would just topple over. That is the short of it. But I don't know. Just paying like 600 Hong Kong dollars for something that can combine into such a good looking mobile armor that can be customized, by the way, if you just shift or just basically open up the wings, as simple as that, or if you display it separately, like in the unicorn and the harpy form, you can mix and match their own parts with each other. For example, the instructions showed a Pegasus. Now I have to say, all the clear blue that is exposed all over the place, for example the feather blades over here, and then also the large chunks of blue ham over here that I would love to call it psycho frame, because it is from the unicorn unit. And also these tail pieces, they are completely static now that everything is in the way, and then you have a unicorn tail for some goddamn reason. So it is just a creative thing that Kotobukiya thought up at the top of their heads, so I would have to credit them for that. But the functionalities of it, well, you can plop a high grade in there, you can plop an average size high grade, but it just cannot stand on its own or stand in a good pose. Now I do not know if, yeah, there should be some way to prop it up with a stand, so you guys could go ahead and do that if you have one of the Kotobukiya stands. So how much mobility do you get after that grueling transformation? Now there is no head because there is none. Now that the visor, it still has the same articulation. The wings over here, they can swivel from here, they can swivel in and out, and then they can swivel in and out over there. They could open up to allow for more articulation, but I would just love to just open up the wings as it has on the box art. Now the arms over here, they could be hindered by the wings, but they have the same joints. They have one swivel joint over there, one swivel joint here, and one swivel joint here. Like, there is a lot of joints that still have the classic rotation. They could be hindered by the wings, so be careful. And as usual, the laceration hazard of this kit, so yeah, definitely be careful on that one. There's nothing really different over here, so please check out the other two parts for the articulation of the arms. And then the legs, the proper legs, could constantly fall off because these clamps, they clamp onto the polycaps that they should be connected to pretty well, but they attach onto the legs pretty loosely, which I do appreciate, but in the long run it would just annoy me that these things would just pop off. But tightening is possible, so I will not blame them. It still holds together pretty well. It would not be affected by gravity that much. So the legs are literally the same. These can still move on the same array of joints, and there is really not much change in the articulation. Now let me open up the wings, just because that is how it's advertised in the box art. Gigantic polycaps are a bit shite if you think about it. But what this thing is for is plopping in any of your Karabukia kits. Or in my case, I would put in the Gundams that I have in there. Now, before I put anything in there, let me just give you guys a relative comparison of how large this thing is. So, as for relativity, this is the standard Gundam. So, the combined traits of the harpy and the unicorn basically dwarf this guy. Basically, it just eats up this guy. Now, it isn't really that big of a surprise since this thing is kind of mobile armor, like not the Gundam, the Lucifer's wing is kind of a mobile armor, so it is normal that the Gundam is basically eaten up by the mobile armor. But how do you mount things in there? That is the main question. And there you go. It's not all the way in, but it's still acceptable in my book. So nothing will really drop out. Now what you want to do next is to move these pieces of armor away. I mean move it away, not take it off. I do not know why this thing just decides to pop off, but okay. This thing has a mind of its own apparently. And then flip down the unicorn visor. Like so, and then make way, just plop it in there, and then as you're doing so, plug this rectangular peg back into the third slot over here. So yep, let's just plop it in there, and let's just peg it in, secure everything, close up the unicorn visor, and there we have it, the 1.5 Gundam sitting inside of the Lucifer's wing. Now I am very, very surprised that this thing did actually freaking work. Now some of the modern high grades that are slim enough, for example possibly the GBM based Gundam can even fit in here. But yeah, I'm just so damn surprised that this actually did work. Now what we have now, I had left out the Buster Sword intentionally just because the fingers kept on falling off. Even though it is a tight grip on here, it still has a problem with the fingers. So yeah, I really can't do anything about it other than glue them on later on. So I'm gonna do that later. And then also we have the shield that also has the extension mechanic. I didn't show it off when I did the unicorn mode just because, man, it looks more like a bib than a shield to me. Now that it is out of the way, you can protrude this blade out and actually have some shield fighting. Let's rise up as the shield hero, shouldn't we? Now, yep, this goes into whoever you plopped in here. Now it didn't really work too well for the 1.5 just because it just looks really, really weird not having the shield like this rather than like this, and I don't think there is any mechanism for us to rotate the shield in any way. So let me just find it out. The best I got is this. Well, it's good enough. And then as I did mention, we do have the spines that also functions as beam guns. Now you do have the leftover hard points over here, so you could actually plug these things in just like the harpy humanoid form. So you could do that just in case you do not want to lose the spines. So that is basically all for the Lucifer's wing review. So this all boils down to one final question: is it worth the hefty price tag? I would say for the majority, no. As much as I hate to say this, it is not worth the price tag. But the little minority that is worth the price tag is the beast forms. So if you're displaying this guy in the beast forms and plan to get this guy for the beast forms, go right ahead. The harpy is a laceration hazard, but it does look cool with all the clear blades and all the display options with it having the extension mechanic on the blades. And if you're displaying the harpy in the humanoid form, go right ahead. It is very, very sturdy, and you may have a bit of trouble balancing it due to the small feet, but it is overall pretty good for the harpy. For the unicorn though, The beast form is just a plain dumb horse with a horn on it, but it's structurally okay to say the least, and also you could convert it into a Centurion support unit. So with the customization capabilities of this kit over here, so you could put the harpy wings on, and you could just plop in the Extreme Gundam, recolor it, grab some gigantic M.S.G lance and shield, and make the Extreme Gundam Mystic phase. You could definitely go ahead for that. But the humanoid form of the unicorn, it looks weird, it is armored weirdly, and it doesn't have any weapons, but most important of all, it doesn't stand at all. And especially when you combine both units into the mobile armor and you still have to use the dumb ass unicorn hoof feet as the main thing to support this gigantic mass of plastic, then I'm afraid that you cannot get this guy to stand at all. Of course, there is this one adapter over here to plug this thing onto a Kotobukiya stand, which is appreciated, but I bet the stand will not even be able to support the weight that is this guy. You cannot really mess with the laws of physics, so there is no way in hell that you can get this guy to stand. And if you do, you would encounter some serious issues, because the front pieces of armor over here fell off on me for a few times. The legs dislodged itself from either the clamp or from the most uncomfortable place possible, the inner frame. Those gigantic polycaps may look fierce, but it's just the same as regular polycaps. It's the same old rubber. It works when it wants to, doesn't work when it doesn't want to, so everything just falls apart. And especially with all the gigantic kibble in the back, it is starting to dislodge. Everything is just trying to separate itself and be displayed as a pile of junk parts. So, at the end of the day, I will not recommend this thing in general. Like, I very much hate to say this. I've been rambling on for 4 minutes and gone through the grueling experience of transforming and just basically taking apart these guys and putting them back together. But at the end of the day, I will not recommend this guy for the majority. And even the good looking beast modes and also the customization capabilities of this thing is not enough to offset the negative points of this kit for me. So as cool as it looks in the mobile armor mode and all the different modes except for the humanoid forms because they're weird, and as much as I like to say that, oh, this thing is capable of taking in Gunpla into the mobile armor, so you could definitely go ahead and let your imagination run wild. You could actually have a non-canon Gundam Universe mobile armor that you can actually customize. But even with all of that said, I would not recommend this thing to you guys, especially when it is so expensive, yet it's a much bigger mess, a much bigger structural integrity mess than the Gatplan 2 itself. So, in general, I hate to say this, but this thing is not recommended in the slightest. So, that's it for me. Judge by yourself whether or not you want to get this thing. So, all I would recommend this guy for is the beast modes. That's it. So thank you all so much for watching the 3-part review. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the featured channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Bye bye.